In my last video, I have told you about raw data, group frequency distribution table and ungrouped frequency distribution table. In this group frequency distribution table, there is another example. Suppose now I have considered 38 students' weights. Now I have grouped into 31 to 35, 36 to 40, 41 to 45, etc. Now here is a difference of 1 between two class intervals. So when I include another two more students whose weight is 35.5 and 40.5, where will I include them? I can't include in this also, neither in this also. So what shall I do? So I have to follow a certain procedure and rewrite this table once again. So I have considered two class intervals, that is 31 to 35 and 36 to 40. In this class interval, I am going to take the upper limit, that is 35. And in this class limit, I am going to take the lower limit, that is 36. I am going to take out the difference, then later divide by 2, then subtract 0.5 from the lower limit and add 0.5 to the upper limit. I am just going to rewrite this table. Now you can see that my data has become a continuous data, 30.5 to 35.5, and again it starts from 35.5 to 40.5. Now I can add these two students whose weight is 35.5 and 40.5. Here I am going to make it as 6, here I am going to make it as 15. And include 35.5 in this and 40.5 here. So now we saw how to represent the data in a form of tabular column. Now I will tell you how to represent the data in a form of a graph. So this graphical representation of data, you have three types in it. This bar graph, histogram and frequency polygon. What is bar graph? It is nothing but simply drawing an x-axis, y-axis and representing a data in the form of bars. Here the rectangle should be proportional to the frequency. Whatever the frequency we are going to write, those rectangles must be proportional to the frequency. Then only when you see your data, you can easily identify how much ever they have spent or weights of students or marks or something, etc. like that. Now this is your bar graph. This bar graph is for non-continuous data such as 30 to 31, 30 to 35, 36 to 40. You have some difference between two class intervals. So for that tabular column or such kind of data, you use bar graph. Suppose the data is continuous, such as 30.5 to 35.5, 35.5 to 40.5. Then you will be using an histogram, where it is similar to bar graph but for a continuous frequency data. Next is frequency polygon. This is the same histogram where I am going to consider only the midpoint of the rectangle. So from here I am going to consider the midpoint here and the midpoint of this rectangle. Then again midpoint of this to midpoint of this data. Then again midpoint of the next rectangle. Similarly here and here. After this, what do? I consider the next data midpoint. This is how I got this graph here. You can even leave it as a rectangle, then find the midpoint and do, or you can directly find the midpoint and plot the graph. Now I have considered an example to show how does a bar graph look like and how to plot a bar graph. Now a family's income is 20,000. They plan out for the month's expenditure. So this is how they have planned for their month's expenditure. This is in the tabular column. For grocery, they are going to spend 4,000, rent 5,000, education 5,000, medicine and fuel 2,000 each, entertainment and miscellaneous 1,000 each. Now how do I plot this in a bar graph? Now I am going to consider an x-axis and a y-axis. I am going to write all the heads here: grocery, rent, education, medicine, fuel, entertainment and miscellaneous. And this is the amount, that is the expenditure in thousands. Now grocery, they are going to spend 4,000. I'm going to start from here and take it up to 4,000 and bring it down. Please note the rectangles or the bars which are drawing, it should be of uniform width and equidistance. And spend 5,000. Education, another 5,000. Medicine, 2,000. Fuel, 2,000. Entertainment, 1,000. And miscellaneous, 1,000. So here, please note this bar graph is for non-continuous data, and the bar should be proportional to the frequency or the expenditure. Whatever you are going to write it on the y-axis, it should be proportional. So that immediately when you see grocery, you can easily guess it is 4,000. So suppose if I ask, how much have they planned for fuel? You will immediately see the fuel and you will tell it is 2,000. Looking at the graph, you can easily tell what have they planned for. Now the next type of graph is histogram. I told you histogram is for a continuous frequency data. See, I have considered a tabular column where it includes the weights of 36 students, where it is a continuous data such as 30.5 to 35.5, 35.5 to 40.5. This can either be like this also, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Even this is also called as continuous data, where the upper limit of the first class interval is also the lower limit of the next class interval. So such kind of tabular column or class intervals are called as continuous frequency table or continuous data. So here 35 is the upper limit of the first class interval as well as the lower limit of the second class interval. So I consider this as a continuous data. So for continuous data, we are going to draw the histogram. So here this tabular column is going to represent the weights of 36 students. Now how do I draw this? Before drawing, keep this in mind. By drawing a tabular column or a graph with x-axis and y-axis, when I'm going to start from 0 on either sides, then it is fine. You can start your graph from this end. Suppose when I am going to leave a gap, such as my data is starting from 30.5, it is not starting from 0. So I am just going to leave a break here, telling that there is no data here and you are going to start from 30. It is a must and should, you have to make a line like this so that you tell it is not starting from 0. But on the y-axis it is not like that. It starts from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So here it doesn't matter. It starts from 0. But on the x-axis, the weights are not starting from 0, it is starting from 30.5 to 35.5. So it is a must to make this disturbance. Now, I will draw the histogram. From 30.5 to 35.5, 9 students come under this weight. So I am going to start from 30.5 here and take it up to 9. Then till 35.5, I am going to draw this graph, this rectangle. Please note the rectangle should be proportional to the frequency, that is the number of students. Next, 35.5 to 40.5. So I am going to start from this line itself, because from 35, that is the point, 6. From here is 15. Then 3. Then 1. And this is how I am going to plot a histogram. Now in y-axis, you can either take it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can consider even one box as 2 cm, 2, 4, 6, 8 as per your frequency. Now you all know how to draw a histogram. This was my previous example. Now I have taken another example where a teacher considers the marks of 90 students who had scored in mathematics out of 100. Now see the class interval here. It is continuous and even the frequency is also given. Now I am just going to draw the histogram for this. Now from 0 to 20, since here it is starting from 0, I need not draw the disturbance or any line like this and continue the data. Because it is starting from 0, I can directly start from 0. I can mark the rectangles from 0 itself. Now from 0 to 20, 7 students have scored out of 100. And then 20 to 30 marks, 10 students have got. 10, 20, another 20, then 50, and 8 students have scored above 70. So, when you see this graph here, don't you feel something different from this and this? Something is different here. Just observe properly here the marks and the number of students. It is not proportional. I can see them from 0 to 10, 0 to 20. Then the rest, it is 20 to 30. The difference is here the difference is 20. And the difference here, that is your class width, is 10. So my rectangles are not proportional to the frequency. So when a sum comes like this, when you see the class width of all the intervals which is given here data is different. For the first one it is 20. For the second one the class width is 10. For the last one 70 and above, that is from 70 to 100, the class width is 30. So here all the class width is different. When the class width is different, definitely your graph is going to be like this, which is wrong, which will lead you to misunderstanding of the frequency, that is the number of students. In order to overcome this, we are going to do another method. I am going to rewrite this table in this way. So I am going to write the marks, number of students, then class width and length of the rectangle in order to make the rectangle proportional to the frequency. This is what I am going to do. Now I am going to select a class width which is of minimum value. Here in this, the class minimum value class width is 10. In any other table, it might be 5, it might be 4, or it might be 2 or something else. So in a given tabular column, you will consider the class width which is of least value. That is your minimum value. So the minimum value is 10. Now, to find the length of the rectangle, I am going to consider the frequency. That is the number of students in this table. 7 divided by the class width and the minimum class width which you have been chosen. That is 10. I am going to multiply this with 10. So I am going to get 3.5. Similarly for the second one. Here the class width is 10. The frequency is 10. 10 divided by 10 into 10, which gives me 10. Similarly, I do for all the given data here. So now what I have done here is, I have selected my minimum class width, that is my 10. Then later, I have taken the frequency. Each frequency, each class width multiplied by the minimum class width. So 7 by 20, the 20 is your class width into the minimum class width which we have been selected. So this is how your length of the rectangle is going to be. I am going to plot a graph with respect to this. Marks is 20 and the length of the rectangle. From 0 to 20, my rectangle length is going to be 3.5. Then, from 20 to 30 is 10. From 30 to 40, again 10. Now, if you go through this histogram, you can see that the marks is proportional to the frequency. Whenever you get any sums like this or any tabular column where the rectangles are not proportional to your frequency, you will use this method where you will select the class width of minimum width, then select the frequency. For each frequency, you will be doing the same procedure. Now, I will select the frequency of 7, divide by its class width into the selected class width, which is minimum. Now, if they tell us to mark a frequency polygon, how to do that? Now, here I have considered the example 9, where they have taken a survey of cost of living in a city for 52 weeks. So, it goes on like this. So, when I saw this table, I can come to an information that from 140 to 150 for 5 weeks. Within this, for 5 weeks, I have found out the cost of living in one city. So what I am going to do is, I am going to rewrite this table once again. Before that, I am going to find the class mark. What is a class mark? In a simpler words to tell, 40 to 50. What is the number which lies in between this? This 55. It is nothing but the midpoint or the mid mark or the mid data of a given class interval. So here they have given a formula. Using this formula, we are going to find class mark. Easily you can tell between the midpoint of 140 to 150 is 145. See, this is the formula. Lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. So using that, I am going to find the class mark for all these classes. in this, I am going to plot the frequency polygon. You can either do like this also. You can first draw the rectangles, then find the midpoint, then join it. Or you can directly find the class mark and draw the frequency polygon. I am going to do the second method. Now I am going to consider only these two class mark. 145. From here, it is 5. I am just going to keep a small dot. Then for 155, it is 10. A small dot or an into mark. Then for 165, 20. Similarly, for all the values, I am going to plot it. Now I am going to join this points. Start. Now I have done this. I have joined all the points, which is the class mark between marks. Now in order to keep it to the y-axis, I am going to consider the previous data also, that is 130, and the next 210. I am going to find the mid class of these two. It is 135 and 205. Middle of this, I am just going to join this here, and 205 I am going to join it here. Done. This is your frequency polygon.